Hello, my name is Bernice. I work at the Franciscan Spirituality Center in La Crosse. I help with the movement classes there. Today, I'm going to share with you a topic about conscious breathing. We do a lot of unconscious breathing in our everyday. If we can be more aware of our quality of our breath, not only will it enhance our physical well-being, we also might find ourselves in a better place of emotional well-being. The information that I'm going to share with you will give you a little backdrop before we start some movements. This information that I am going to give to you came from yogainternational.com. Something called vital capacity. The vital capacity of our lungs is vital to our health. Vital capacity is not the total capacity of our lungs, but rather the total amount of air that we can inhale after we have exhaled fully. What is important is not how much we breathe in. Instead, it is more important to really focus on how much we can breathe out. Something occurs as we get older that our rib cage becomes a little more elevated. The cartilage in our ribs becomes a little more stiff. And what this means is that we become stuck in our inhalation and more limited in lowering the ribs in order to exhale as much as we might have done when we were younger. When these tissues of the ribs become more stiff, exhalation is not as natural or as passive. We have to focus with a little more effort on completing a full exhalation. We start to use our diaphragm, or we can think of belly breathing, in order to give ourselves a little more strength toward our exhalation. So when you start to practice this with me, what I'm going to suggest is to get yourself a pillow. So it is a standard size pillow, maybe a little more on the firm side. And you're just going to place it against your belly. And then you can kind of lay your hands over the top of that. So what we're going to practice with our belly breathing is to try and move the pillow. That way we know that our diaphragm is being utilized through the inhalation and the exhalation. So we'll just try this a few times in order to feel that sensation of the diaphragm working. So as you are now with me and with that standard size pillow or a firm pillow of some sort, we're going to take that breath in through the belly and exhale out through the belly, but noticing the expansion that occurs around the ribs in order to fully and completely move through that expansion and depression that we're trying to create. So join me, taking a breath in through the nose and an exhalation out through the mouth, through pursed lips. Let's do that a few times. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Once more, breath in through the nose. Exhaling out through the mouth slowly. So hopefully the pillow gave you an indication of the movement around your belly. So what we're going to do now is sense that breathing in a little more relaxed way as we perform some movement patterns. Now the movement patterns do encourage breathing, but we're also giving space around the torso to give ourselves the quality of the breath that comes from good posture. So let's just start by placing our hands, as we did with the pillow. We're just going to lay our hands over the abdomen and take some deep breaths. Once again, if you can breathe just through the nose, that would be great. But otherwise, focus on moving the diaphragm and trying to give more toward the exhalation. So let's just try that a few times. I'm going to just be quiet for the moment and you just focus on your own breath rhythm. Thanks for trying that. We're going to build upon that, starting to move at this time. Imagine at that lower area around your diaphragm that you're holding kind of like a balloon or a soft ball, and you're going to pull those arms out with the breath in, and notice the broadening as you do so, and an exhalation as you compress that ball. So it is a breath in as you pull outward, noticing the lifting of the sternum and the expansion of your lower ribs. When you exhale, then you contract, almost feeling like your core muscles are working. So let's just do that once more. Now pausing there. As we go forward, we're going to focus now a little more on the arm movement patterns, and the breathing will just be a part of the experience. So if you will, continue to kind of hold that ball. We're going to draw the arms up and have those elbows slightly bent. Elevate through the rib cage in an expansive way, and yet keeping the shoulders drawn down. And then we're going to circle those arms outward and down. We'll keep the palms facing inward. Let's do that again. We'll do this about 3 times, lifting up. If it's comfortable to do so, it is a breath in as you lift and exhalation as you lower. Otherwise, we'll just focus on the movement itself and breathing comfortably. So going up and lowering down. Let's go ahead and take those arms the opposite way. So we have the expansion around the torso. We have the lifting and elevating around the rib cage, but also lifting and lengthening our spine. So we're circling those arms inward. And let us go ahead and do that once more, circling those arms in, space around the torso, range of motion of our shoulders, and softness of those movement patterns. From there, I want you to go ahead and place your left hand on your thigh. Draw your right arm up and then open to your right side. Return to the front and lower that right arm down. Let your right hand rest upon your thigh, and now take your left arm up and open toward your left side and come back to the center and lower. So focus on lifting and lengthening around the torso. Once lifting, then a soft rotation toward your right side, come back to the center and lower. Let's do that on that left side. So lift and open and return and lower. So as you might become more proficient, then you're focusing on an inhalation as the torso is lifted and an exhalation as we lower down. But for the time being, let's just practice those movements. So we lift and we turn outward and we return and lower. From there, we're going to find ourselves moving laterally. So how about we just put the arms at our sides, and we're taking that right arm, your right arm, drawing up and arcing over, and think of drawing your left ear towards your shoulder, space around the torso on your right side, and then return back to your neutral spine as you come back to the center. Let's try that on that left side. So we draw up, we arc over, that lateral flexion to the one side. And just noticing what your shoulders can do through this movement. Try to maintain an alignment of the torso with the arm as much as possible to encourage that lateral space that we're creating around the ribs and opening up for more space for our deep breath. So arcing over toward your left side and returning back to the center. And now once more, taking that left arm over. As we return back to the center, let's go ahead and place your right hand over your left. Think of expanding open toward your right side, like you're pressing open a door, looking to your right side as you do so, and then return by layering your right hand over your left. If we were to add the breath, it would be a breath in through the nose on the expansion, exhalation, breath out as the right hand layers over the left. Let's do that once more. Breath in, expand, stay lifted. As you return, we still maintain that elevated posture. Let's try that on the other side. So layer your left hand over your right. Expanding, breath in, exhalation, and return. So we have the range of motion of the shoulder. We draw up with that expansive rotation toward your left side. We also are including the range of motion of our neck with that gaze. Let's do that once more. Breath in, and we exhale. As we come back to the center, we're going to do some closing movement patterns that also enhance our breath, and then we'll create some restorative breathing to end our session. So starting very small, with your hands resting upon your thighs, let's roll our shoulders up, back, and down. Notice the downward movement. Shoulder shrugging, unfortunately, comes very easy, and that's our uptight breath. So we want to make sure that we practice the lowering of those shoulders in order to position ourselves in a more relaxed placement of the entire body for better breathing. From our shoulder rolls, let's do a greater range of motion. So think of rowing. So when you're doing this motion, you'll notice the shoulder rolls, but we're also including those arms, and notice how we give ourselves a little more space around our chest. Now this last one, I'm going to give you a visualization. Think of scooping up warm water. You're going to take that water up over your head and down your back. Let's do that again. We're going to take that water, scoop it up, and bring it over your shoulders and down, noticing how we are lifting and really giving ourselves a good posture in order to fully complete that inhalation to our exhalation. And hopefully that just puts you in a great place for our last placement before we do our relaxation breathing. So have your palms facing up and stay very open with that sensation that we just created with that lifting and elevating. Perceive your spine in true alignment. What I would like us to focus on as we are ending our session today is more of our breathing that allows us to be in a relaxed position, even when we sense that things around us are not so relaxed. So we maintain that inner stability, the emotional well-being that we're trying to create through our breath. Sometimes when we're anxious, our breathing becomes very shallow. So what we're going to practice as we bring closing to our time today is to focus on how we can slow our breath down. When you breathe slowly, when you lengthen your breath, you're turning off the fight or flight or sympathetic nervous system type of breathing. When you slow your breath down, the parasympathetic rest and digest breath takes over. So as you are finishing with me today, I want you to think of this as you are breathing slowly. And it is the phrase of the Spirituality Center, and also the phrase that the sisters of St. Rose Convent often say. And it's a wonderful closing thought as we have our breathing to finish. The phrase is peace and all good. So what we're going to do, and we'll kind of phase out through our deep breathing with the thought of taking the breath in on peace, and all good will be the exhalation. So either eyes closed or cast down, let us think of that as we continue to breathe. So breathing in, peace. Exhaling out, and all good. Breathing in, peace. Exhaling out, and all good. Peace. And all good. Peace. And all good. Remain with these thoughts. Remain with this breath as long as you desire. I thank you for joining me today. Peace and all good.